I never thought I'd have to defend myself against accusations of abandoning my husband during his cancer treatment. But here I was sitting in my in-laws' living room while my mother-in-law, Diana, told everyone how I'd disappeared during Michael's darkest hours. The worst part? My husband was too weak from his latest round of chemotherapy to be here and defend me. She was never there, Diana announced to the gathered family members, her voice trembling with what I knew was manufactured emotion. My poor Michael, lying there alone while she was out God knows where. I practically lived at that hospital while she was probably out partying. I gripped the armrest of the antique chair I was sitting in, my knuckles turning white. Around me sat Michael's siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins, all of them wearing expressions ranging from disgust to pity. The family meeting Diana had called was turning into exactly what I feared, a public trial where I was already condemned. "That's not true," I said quietly, but Diana spoke over me. "I have proof." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through what looked like timestamps of hospital visits. "Look at these records. I was there every single day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Where were you, Amanda? Because I hardly saw you." My sister-in-law Jessica, who'd always taken her mother's side, chimed in. "I noticed that too. Every time I visited Michael, Mom was there. But you weren't." The accusation hung heavy in the air, mixing with the scent of Diana's overpowering potpourri that always gave me a headache. I looked around the room at the faces of people who'd been my family for the past 7 years. How quickly they seemed ready to believe the worst about me. I was there. I started again, my voice stronger this time. "I was there every night." "Oh, please." Diana interrupted, her perfectly manicured hands gesturing dismissively. "Don't insult our intelligence. Michael's cousin Patty works at the hospital gift shop. She never saw you there either." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. The truth was, I had been there. Every single night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., I sat with Michael, held his hand through the worst of the nausea, read to him when he couldn't sleep, and learned from the night nurses how to make him more comfortable. I worked remotely during the day so we could afford the experimental treatments insurance wouldn't cover, treatments Diana conveniently forgot she had opposed. I was there during the night shift, I explained for what felt like the 100th time. Michael and I agreed it was better for me to work during the day so we could. "Oh, how convenient." Diana's voice dripped with sarcasm. "You were there when nobody could see you. How incredibly convenient." Uncle Pete, who'd always been kind to me, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Diana, maybe we should." "No." Diana stood up, her petite frame somehow dominating the room. "My son is fighting for his life, and his wife abandons him. And you all want to just accept her excuses." I felt tears threatening to fall but blinked them back. I wouldn't give Diana the satisfaction of seeing me cry. 7 years of subtle digs, passive-aggressive comments, and outright hostility had prepared me for this moment. But this time, she'd gone too far. "I don't mean to defend myself to you," I said, standing up. "The only person who matters is Michael, and he knows exactly where I was." "Yes, he does know." Diana smiled, and something in that smile made my blood run cold. "That's why he asked me to talk to you about divorce options." The room fell silent. My heart stopped for a moment, then started racing. "What?" "He didn't want to tell you himself because he's too weak right now," Diana continued, her voice gentler now, almost sympathetic, but her eyes gleamed with triumph. "He asked me to help him look into lawyers." "You're lying." The words came out before I could stop them. "Michael would never." "I have the text right here." Diana pulled out her phone again. "Would you like me to read them to everyone?" I stared at her, my mind racing. Something wasn't right. Michael and I had talked just this morning. He'd been weak, yes, but he told me he loved me, thanked me for everything I was doing. This didn't make sense. Jessica stood up and walked over to her mother, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Amanda, maybe it would be better if you left. Give Michael some space though." The sound of the front door opening cut her off. We all turned to see Maria, Michael's night nurse, standing in the doorway. She was still in her scrubs, her hospital ID badge hanging around her neck. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said, her voice firm and professional, "but Michael asked me to come here. He was quite insistent." Diana's face flickered with uncertainty for the first time. "This is a private family matter. You have no right to." "Actually," Maria cut in, pulling out a tablet from her bag, "I think I have something everyone needs to see." Especially you, Mrs. Thompson. The look on Diana's face told me she knew exactly what Maria might have brought with her, and suddenly I understood why my mother-in-law had chosen today, of all days, to call this family meeting. Maria looked around the room, her eyes finally settling on me with a kind smile. Should I show them the security footage from the oncology ward, or would you like to tell the truth first, Mrs. Thompson? Diana's face drained of color as Maria connected her tablet to the large TV mounted on the wall. The family shifted uncomfortably, sensing that something significant was about to unfold. Uncle Pete cleared his throat, while Jessica suddenly found the carpet fascinating. This is from 3 nights ago, Maria explained, pressing play. The oncology ward has cameras in all hallways and common areas for patient safety. The footage was clear, showing the dimly lit hospital corridor outside Michael's room. The timestamp read 2:17 a.m. I immediately recognized myself sitting in the small waiting area, hunched over my laptop while Michael slept. Then Diana appeared on screen, clearly not expecting anyone to be there at that hour. You shouldn't be here. Diana's voice rang out from the TV speakers. Visiting hours are over. The me in the footage looked up, exhausted. I have permission from Dr. Stevens to stay. I'm his wife, Diana. A real wife would be here during the day, Diana snapped, not skulking around at night like some kind off. I worked during the day to pay for his treatments. I watched myself respond calmly. The ones you called unnecessary and refused to help with. The gathered family members shifted uncomfortably. Diana had told everyone she offered to pay for all of Michael's treatments. Maria paused the video. Should I continue? Because there's more. Much more. Diana stood up abruptly. This is an invasion of privacy. I'll sue the hospital for. The hospital's legal team has already approved sharing this footage. Maria cut in smoothly. At Michael's request, shall we continue? Without waiting for a response, she pressed play again. The footage jumped to another night, showing Diana entering Michael's room at midnight when she thought no one was watching. She was removing something from his IV pump. A collective gasp filled the room. Maria quickly explained. She was adjusting his pain medication dosage down, so when Amanda arrived for her night shift, Michael would be in more pain. She did this several times. I was trying to prevent addiction. Diana protested, but her voice shook. No, Maria's voice was steel. You were trying to make Amanda look incompetent. We have footage of you telling Michael the next morning that Amanda must have tampered with his medication because you'd fixed it the day before. Jessica stood up, moving away from her mother. Mom, how could you? But Maria wasn't finished. She pulled up text messages on the tablet. These are the actual messages from Michael's phone, not the doctored ones you showed earlier. The messages appeared on screen. Michael, Mom, stop telling everyone Amanda isn't here. She's here every night. Diana, I'm trying to protect you. She's probably seeing someone else during the day. Michael, that's ridiculous. She's working to pay for my treatments. Treatments you called a waste of money. Diana, don't you see? She's poisoning you against me, my own son. More messages followed, showing Diana's increasing attempts to drive a wedge between us, including the fake divorce messages she created to show the family. Uncle Pete stood up, his face red with anger. Diana, what the hell were you thinking? You deliberately tried to break up your son's marriage while he's fighting cancer. I was protecting him. Diana's voice rose hysterically. She's not good enough for him. She never was. Always working, always too busy. Working to save his life. I finally erupted, years of pent-up frustration pouring out. While you were playing the devoted mother during convenient visiting hours, I was there every night. I was there when he couldn't stop throwing up at 3 a.m. I was there learning every medication, every procedure, working remotely from his room while he slept so we could afford the treatments you called wasteful. The room fell silent. Even Diana seemed to shrink under the weight of the truth. Maria stepped forward. There's one more thing everyone should see. She pulled up a final clip. It showed Michael, late at night, holding my hand while I slept in the chair beside his bed. He was stroking my hair, looking at me with such love it made my heart ache. She's my miracle, Mom. Michael's voice came through clearly as Diana entered the room. I don't know what lies you're spreading about her, but they stop now. Amanda is the only reason I'm still fighting. Do you understand? The footage ended, leaving the room in heavy silence. Diana stood alone now, everyone having moved away from her. Her perfect mask had crumbled, revealing the bitter, manipulative woman beneath. "I think," Uncle Pete said slowly, "we all owe Amanda an apology. And Diana, I think it's time for you to leave." Maria handed me a sealed envelope. "Michael asked me to give you this. He wanted to be here today. But..." I opened it with trembling hands, recognizing my husband's handwriting. "My dearest Amanda, I'm sorry I'm not strong enough to be there today, but I needed everyone to know the truth. Mom's lies stop now. You are my strength, my love, and my reason for fighting. I've asked Maria to show them everything. All my love, Michael." Looking up from the letter, I found the family staring at me with a mixture of shame and regret. Diana was quietly crying in the corner, but for once, no one was rushing to comfort her. 3 months have passed since that day in Diana's living room, and everything has changed. Michael's latest scans showed the experimental treatment was working. The tumors had shrunk significantly, but that wasn't the only healing taking place in our lives. I was arranging flowers in Michael's hospital room when Jessica arrived, looking uncomfortable but determined. It was her first visit since the revelation of Diana's deception. "Amanda," she started, twisting her wedding ring nervously. "I've been trying to find the right words for weeks. I'm so sorry. I should have questioned Mom's stories. I should have noticed how she only showed up during the day, how she always had a convenient explanation for everything." I carefully placed the last sunflower in the vase. "You believed what you wanted to believe, Jessica. What your mother trained you to believe. That's no excuse," she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. "I watched her tear you down for years and I helped her do it. Michael must hate me." "I don't hate you, Jess." Michael's voice came from the bed. He was looking stronger every day, some color returning to his face. "But I need to know I can trust you, that you'll stand with us against Mom's manipulation." Jessica moved to his bedside, taking his hand. "I'm in therapy now," she admitted, trying to understand why I always enabled her behavior, why I never questioned her lies. She turned to me. "The night nurse, Maria, she told me how you learned every procedure, how you kept detailed notes about Michael's medication schedule. While I was believing Mom's lies, you were actually saving my brother's life." The door opened again and Uncle Pete walked in with his wife, Susan. They'd become regular visitors, part of a support system that had reformed around us after Diana's lies were exposed. "How's our fighter doing today?" Uncle Pete asked, setting down a container of homemade soup. "Susan made your favorite." Michael managed a genuine smile. "Better. Dr. Stevens says I might be able to go home next week." "To your new home," Susan emphasized, giving me a knowing look. "After everything that happened, we decided to sell our house. Too many memories of Diana's unannounced visits and criticism, and bought a small cottage closer to the hospital." "Has anyone heard from Mom?" Jessica asked quietly. The room fell silent. Diana had tried everything after her lies were exposed. Tears, accusations, even threats to contest Michael's power of attorney. But when Michael's lawyer presented her with a restraining order, she finally seemed to understand the magnitude of what she'd done. "She's still sending emails," Michael sighed. "Yesterday said she'd found a miracle healer in Arizona who could cure my cancer with crystal therapy. Still trying to prove Amanda's treatments are wrong." "I blocked her number last week," Jessica admitted, "after she tried to convince me you were being held against your will in the hospital." Uncle Pete shook his head. "The woman needs help. Professional help. But first, she needs to admit what she did was wrong." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a message from Maria. She'd stayed in touch, becoming a close friend after everything that happened. The message contained a link to a private Facebook group where Diana had apparently been sharing her version of events. "She's telling people we've all been brainwashed by the hospital staff," I said, reading the post, "that we've turned her own children against her." Michael reached for my hand, squeezing it gently. "You know what? Let her talk. The people who matter know the truth. And look what her lies brought us: a stronger marriage, a closer family, and the clarity to finally set boundaries." He was right. Despite Diana's attempts to destroy our marriage, she'd accidentally made it stronger. The family had reformed around us, smaller but more genuine. Even Jessica had broken free from her mother's influence, discovering her own strength in the process. "The latest scan results came in this morning," Michael announced, changing the subject. "The tumors have shrunk another 15%. The room erupted in celebration. As I watched Michael laugh with his sister and uncle, I thought about how different this scene was from those dark nights in the hospital. We'd made it through not just the cancer, but through Diana's poison as well. Later that night, as Michael dozed beside me in his hospital bed, I updated the journal I'd been keeping throughout his treatment. I wrote about Diana's attempts to destroy us, but more importantly, about the love that had proved stronger than her lies, about the family that had reformed, stronger and more authentic than before. Maria stopped by during her rounds, smiling at the sight of Michael peacefully sleeping while I worked on my laptop beside him. "Just like old times," she whispered. "Except now everyone knows what a warrior you both are." I thought about the security footage that had exposed Diana's lies, about the unexpected ally I found in Maria, about the family members who'd stepped up to support us. Sometimes the truth comes out in unexpected ways, and sometimes it takes a crisis to show you who your real family is. Michael stirred in his sleep, reaching for my hand even in his dreams. I held it tight, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, we'd face them together. Diana had tried to break us, but she only proved what I'd known all along. Love doesn't need an audience to be real. It shows up every day, or in her case, every night, doing whatever needs to be done.